Hello everyone, I am Tacit and welcome to the Gems of All Tower of Doom, week 37, day 7. So today, of course, we're going to be wrapping up the Void event we have going on. There's still several hours left, specifically, where is it? Specifically 6 hours and 53 minutes. Obviously we're not going to be grinding all that time, but I do want to throw down at least 5 more paloozas, and that'll bring us to our minimum goal of hitting 300 Vault Keys this weekend, which we're pretty much already at. Counting Pity, we're at like, what, 270? 260, somewhere around there. So we're pretty much already there, but we'll still open another 5. That way we would have done 5, 5, and 5, which is a nice spread. And I did make sure to farm enough of them. I don't remember exactly how many I got, but we definitely have more than 5. Okay, 6. So yeah, we definitely have the 5 we need. So that'll work out perfectly. Aside from that, we're going to be going over all the spoilers for the week. The most noteworthy thing is, what patch? So much so, it's even in the game itself. Well, not, yet, but you know what I mean. The countdown for it's in the game. But yeah, this Tuesday is version 7.0. It'll be the last stream we do before we go, as I will be leaving next week to go see some family. Maybe I'll be gone for about a week then, which is a little unfortunate because we're going to be leaving pretty much as soon as 7.0 happens, like the day after. So we'll be able to do the stream the night of, and maybe have time to cover like one little video just kind of going over things very briefly. But we won't have that much time, that's for sure. But we'll try to cover what we can. And that also means we're going to be a little bit late on the following campaign, but it's just a booty gem. I highly doubt it's going to be anything too useful, especially initially. All it does is like 10 gold when you destroy it, unless they revamped what it does. It's a pretty average power gem that's not really going to make that big of an impact. It's more so the troops themselves that have this synergy with gold synergy teams that are going to make more of an impact than the actual gem itself. As the gem itself is pretty underwhelming. It's more so the synergy that it could potentially have for gold farming teams that is actually powerful, potentially. Anyways, but yeah, we'll be wrapping up the Vault event to stream as the main goal. But before we do that, let's go over all the weekly spoilers. First, let's go into the official post. So we have the Taurus Guardian. We have a Wild Plains event week next week, which, does that bring any good weapons? I don't believe so. As far as this troop, it ends up gaining a bunch of attack, life, and armor. And if there are 13 or more red gems, it creates 9 skulls. Overall, very situational. There's better skull spammers that gain stats out there. So I don't really see much of a need for this to ever really come out in most teams. There's just not much of a use case for it. It does have Enrage upon kill, which I guess is nice. There's just other things that gain better overall value. As far as the Ward event, wait, we have a Ward event next week? But there's no campaign next week. Wait, we just have a Ward event with no campaign? Because, yeah, there's no campaign next week, so, that's weird. Okay, we just have a Ward event randomly, I guess? That's weird. Because there's no, that's very strange, because there's no, event going on. Well, I guess we still have a Ward event for whatever reason. Luckily, it's just rarity order, so it seems pretty straightforward. Just don't take the Gorble, and you'll be good to go. Let's see. And yeah, the Goblin Hearts across all of them become more as you do more of the same battle. So yeah, as long as you're just not taking Gorblin, looks good to go. We did get a revamp to the Trial team, so we'll be changing the player teams. So we'll have the Gorgon, Soothsayer, Sunweaver, and Queen Moonclaw. It's not the greatest. Isn't Sunweaver that one that has like the mana buff with like an everything buff? And the Gorgon's that one tanky one, so we can kind of make that work. I don't know, that seems okay. Nothing particularly special. But as long as the enemy team is weak enough, which it looks like it is, we should be okay. Mitch Swarm, isn't that one with like that split damage spam? Skeleros has a lot of skull spam, but similarly to what we did the previous event, where we could basically bait them into always missing. Well, Skeleros will be harder to bait into missing. It'll often give us the skulls we need to kill them. So as long as there's not too many skulls on the board, this can actually end up helping you. Because if there's just a small amount, it's just going to double it and miss. Like if there's only 5 skulls on the board, this is basically just giving you a free skull poke or 2. Because it's very unlikely it's going to hit with only 5 skull spam. But yeah, we'll have to wait to see. It really just depends how much you can control the board of these Skeleros. Just to make sure there's not too many skulls on the board, but you still need some so that it creates value for you. But it's going to be another week like that where you have to basically use the skull spammer on the enemy team since you don't really have one yourself. Interesting. Is that easier than what we have now? I actually don't know. What do we have for Wild Plains right now? Wild Plains team is currently the following. Let's see. Soothsayer, Queen Moonclaw. It's actually a pretty similar team. Though oddly enough, we're the one with Skeleros instead of them having it. Yeah, I guess it would be a little bit easier. It's kind of funny because it's like a combination of both of these two teams. Because we get Gorgon, we get Soothsayer, we get Skeleros. Which one's missing? Queen Moonclaw? We get Queen Moonclaw. Because that's our team right there. It's Soothsayer, Gorgon, Moonclaw, and... What did I miss? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, no. I counted the same one twice. Wait, who's our fourth? Wait, who's our fourth? Oh, yeah, Sunweaver. That's that one blue-yellow that does a buff and does a little bit of mana gain. So that can help put the team together. It's the Kingdom's Epic. So, yeah, we can make that work. It should be fine. Because we're going to have the Gorgon for the tank. The Moonclaw. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Moonclaw actually creates skulls. That'll be fine. And it creates a random null. Oh, yeah, we'll be perfectly fine. Oh, yeah, this shouldn't be that bad. I didn't even realize that thing had resummon. That's not too bad, then. Should be able to make that work. Anyways. But yeah, it actually does look like it's easier after the update rather than harder. Which they have done before, make it harder, which is not ideal when they do that. Anyways, other things we have going on this week. Tuesday. Actually, where are we up to right here? Tuesday, we're going to be having the faction event for the Labyrinth. Really annoying one. Make sure to get rid of the tank. It's by far the biggest threat that is on that battle. And also on Tuesday night, of course, we're going to be having version 7.0, 100% confirmed. So we'll be able to go over that. And that'll also be our last stream for the week. Wednesday, we're going to be having the pet rescue. Just for one that we already have, a small Paka. I believe it's like Brown Mastery or something. It is Purple Mastery. Thursday, we're going to be having a class event for the Wild Plains Hero class of the Shaman. Shaman Situational has a 50% mana start for the typing. But beyond that, you don't really ever use it. And then this for... Oh, yes, nice. I'm actually missing nothing this weekend. We have an arena event, which means there's no event week this weekend. Okay. So we're not missing too much. The biggest issue is I'm not getting back until... oh gosh, we got a Legends report next week? Wait. No, that's July 31st. Wait, does it not show the other events for this? Why does it jump so many days? That's weird. But yeah, we don't actually know what's happening on the other week then. I'm going to be gone for those few days initially. It'll probably be updated once we have the updates tomorrow. Because I'm pretty sure a lot of things don't show that far ahead of time. Just because we're about to get a patch literally in 2 days from now. So we probably can't see that far ahead in a lot of areas. So we'll be able to see quite a bit further as of tomorrow. Really curious to see everything that the patch does. We do know that's bringing some kind of shiny card mechanic and like a few other things related to that. So I'll just have to wait and see on Tuesday for all of it and go from there. Anyways, guys, so let's go and finish this week. So this week, of course, we had Tower of Doom the whole time. We finished on, what, the third, fourth day. We even scouted quite a few of the floors. We have 14 fights right now, but leaderboard is pretty pointless to go for. We're still hanging in there on top 50, so that gives us, like, what, 15 more gems, I guess? So as long as we don't dip under there, that's fine. Aside from that, Papados and El Loco carried us like crazy this week, gosh. Let's see. Don't need to do anything there. Yeah, pretty much good to go. Alright, so let's just focus on the Vault event then. And go do that. We already got the timer up. Also, hello everyone. I didn't even say all hellos yet. Hello, Lester. Hello, Lady Alfield. Hello, Supernova. Hello. Also, how do I mispronounce that extremely? I have no clue how to say that. Let's see. Hello, Sushi Ninja. Hello, Maximus. Hello, Lucian. Hello, Emernator. Hello, Tyrion. Hello, Isabel. Hello, Bill Warhammer. Hello, Chad. Hello, Jonian. And hello, Cookie. And hello, everyone else. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so, yeah, let's focus on the Vault event. Let's go get all the Vault event grind in. We're just going to do straight Palooza pretty much the whole time. We do still have to take out the other daily thingy, but we'll do it after Palooza or two. But yeah, start getting the Paloozas running. See what we can end up getting. Minimum want to do 5, and it's probably exactly what we'll do. Just a nice 5-5-5. Very rarely have we ever done the exact same amount every day, so we'll do it this time around just to see what it comes out to. I just realized I'm probably not using the right team right now. Let's hope we are. We are not. Had a feeling because I was last grinding the other thing. So wrong team. I was even in the wrong kingdom because I was had a mimic there earlier. I was grinding off stream and I just ended up skipping it instead of taking it out. But then I eventually switched over and killed it with Zolgoth. Because when it comes to the mimic fights, they actually have the difficulty of your highest level explorer, so it doesn't matter what explorer you were doing, they automatically get scaled to the highest possible number. Which is not ideal when you're running a team that does 20 damage, or in this case 25 damage. When they have like 200 something stats. Hopefully it doesn't go over too well. The one thing I don't normally do, you could technically just force run away from a Mimic if you really wanted to. It wouldn't be that ideal, because, you know, you don't get the Mimic chest, or the chance at 5 times, or the chance at a Horde Mimic. But you could technically just run away from it immediately, but you lose out on all that loot. Because if I'm not mistaken, you still get your normal chest. I've never actually had it happen. But last I recall from how the patch notes mentioned it when it first came out, if you were to lose to a Mimic, which I don't think I've ever done ever, but if you were to lose to it, you actually still get your normal chest, if I'm not mistaken. Like, you don't get your upgraded chest. So, for example, if you had a 1-time, or, you know, if you're about to take a 2-times chest and you lose, you still get the 1-times chest. And similarly, if you're taking a 5-times chest battle and you lose, I believe you still get the 2-times chest. But, yeah, so you still get some value from it. You just don't get the extended value. If you do happen to lose. So we're getting a lot of Dragonite all of a sudden. Not something we really need, but there we go. Oh, so hello, Strench. Welcome, welcome. Hope all has been well. Oh, so hello, Maximus. You got Dragonite from an Angel today? Nice. Yeah, my Angel drops today were okay. Nothing too special. Pretty average luck on them. Though we were able to get 6 verses, because if I'm not mistaken, last night we had 0 or 1. And now we're at 6. So we're able to get a good handful of them today, if nothing else. So we're not actually going to need to go out of our way to grind them at all this stream unless we want to. So we're going to be prioritizing just running to Paloozas then. And get our last little bit of value in there. Also, hopefully we'll be able to get the weekly video up a little bit early this week as well. Since I'll probably be up grinding the Vault event a little bit. Because even after we end the stream, I'll still grind it here and there between some other things. Hopefully 7.0 fixes the RNG of the eggs. I'm not sure if they will, but I sure hope they will. Because that's still a system in the game that is pretty clunky. They've added more ways to get Dragonite, but they've done nothing to fix the whole RNG system related to it. There's no pity system for it either. If you go like X number of eggs. There's no like alternative buy, like being able to buy a single color dragon for like 2 or 3 times the cost. Because that would kind of fix the issue too. If they still kept the RNG eggs, but they give you an alternative. Even if it was as high as 1,500, it'd still be worth it if you only needed 1 left. Because you're likely to spend less Dragonite from buying your last one with 1,500 than you would trying to roll it 500 at a time for a 1 in 6 chance. Because that's what happened with us. It took us like, what, 15, 20 rolls to get our final one? Like, we spent upwards of, I almost want to say, what, 75,000 Dragonite? No, not that high. It can't be that high. No, it would have been, no, it would have been that high. Yeah, 7,500 Dragonite or so. Because we went something like 15, if not more, when we had 5 but didn't have the 6th one yet. Which would have been way cheaper if there was like a 1,500 option or something similar. Well, luckily we eventually got them. Took us way longer than it should have, though. I think it took me like half a year, despite buying Dragonite literally every day during it. And that's probably the biggest issue with it, too. If you get unlucky for a long period of time, you waste so many gems buying Dragonite. Man, it definitely adds up. Because not needing to do Dragonite anymore, that basically saves us 300 gems a day. Like, obviously not everyone goes for it immediately. But it still sinks into the currency quite quickly. I'm surprised how much we've gotten for free since then, though. Because I haven't gotten any Dragonite at a cost, you know, since we finished that grind. And since then, we've gotten, like, about 3,000 Dragonite or so? Somewhere around there. Because since we crafted our first Diamantina, we have not bought a single Dragonite. And since then, we have enough for 2.5. One we already crafted. Oh, no, sorry, 3.5. Because I have 3 Diamantinas, and I believe we're sitting on 1,000-something Dragonite. So we've gotten about 3,500 Dragonite for free since we stopped farming it every single day about, what, 4 months ago? I want to say? Somewhere around there. Like 4 or 5 months ago. So within a third of a year, we got about 3,000 Dragonite for free, which isn't too bad. But that's from everything. That's counting Vault events. That's counting Perfect Dungeons. That's counting Angels. Though not counting Merchants because I don't buy from Merchants anymore. Because its ratio is actually the same as buying it through the daily. So unless you're buying the daily, there's no point in also buying it from the Merchant. If you're not doing one, you wouldn't be doing the other. Did you see your Leonis? Your Leonis team? Or what were you mentioning? I think it might have gotten buried in chats. Just gonna farm gnomes for the rest of the night? Yep, pretty much. We'll be streaming about like an hour and a half to 2 hours of it, but I will still be grinding it here and there throughout the rest of the night. Just won't all be streamed. But our main goal is to finish 5 Paloozas this stream and whatever other weeklies, dailies we have. Well, every weekly is done. It's mostly just finishing up the dailies. Just as a reminder, I'm pretty sure almost no one's in this camp. But if you haven't done it yet, don't forget, today's the last day you can spend your currency for the summer event. Of course, you weren't able to earn any summer currency this week, but you've been able to spend it this entire week. And today's the last day that you can spend it until it's gone forever, so make sure to do so if there's any way to do so. I have 101 points, but there's nothing to spend it on that we haven't already done. But if you still have any of that left, make sure to use it by the end of today, like a couple hours from now, like 6 hours from now, as it will be gone after. As those are one of the few limited currencies that actually get completely wiped after the event is over. While most currencies in Gems of War do stack up pretty much indefinitely forever, those seasonal events they've been doing, they do get wiped every single seasonal event. And this one is no different. I'm pretty sure most people have already spent all their points by now. It's been 3 weeks now. Well, you know, you get a whole extra week. Which is nice, because I believe when it first launched, if you didn't spend it by the end of the last day on the second week, it was just gone already. But they added a little buffer week just in case, which is nice. Also, one nice thing is this time when we're away, I don't have to worry about doing some kind of weekend event, because it looks like we have Arena this weekend, unless it's going to be changing last minute. And if that is still the case, then yeah, we have no event this weekend. Yay. And by this weekend, I mean, you know, next week's weekend. So I'm not missing too much when I'm away, because we'll be able to cover most of 7.0, you know, right when it happens. We'll stream it live as soon as it happens. We'll cover a little brief video on it before I go. And then we won't be able to get videos out the rest of that time. But the only other thing I'm really going to miss, because there's not too much happening within that time, is the start of next campaign. But the start of next campaign doesn't really bring too much. It's bringing Booty Gem. We're probably going to get one Booty Gem troop that's completely irrelevant, and then eventually, like 3 weeks later, we'll actually get a viable option. Not too much is happening immediately with it. Unless they're revamping that system next patch as well, but who knows. We'll find out on Tuesday. If nothing else, I'll have something to grind while on vacation in my free time. I'll have my airport game. I actually really like playing Gems of War at airport. That's like probably one of the things that you're supposed to do it with. How the game was designed to be played. But it's very convenient just bringing it out here and there. Like, I'm normally not out and about too often, so I don't have the opportunity to just randomly pull out phone and play a random game. So that'll be pretty convenient, because like 99% of my playtime's on PC for the most part. Though I was playing on phone a little bit earlier today when I was grinding some. Because that's really easy doing it for Palooza grinds. You just do one-shot dust stuff all the whole time. Which is very straightforward and very hard to misclick on. Also requires pretty much no thinking at all. And as Isabel mentioned, definitely feel free to leave a like or stream. Helps a lot and is greatly appreciated. If anyone is still interested in joining the guild, I believe you still have a spot left. If you could do 2 million plus gold per week on the PC mobile version. As well as just participate in guild-related events whenever there's guild wars and, you know, other things like that. All the bare minimum for them. The requirements are pretty lower than the gold requirement. Well, we still have a spot left. And we need to fill that before next guild war. Actually, isn't it guild war next week? Oh, wait, we need to fill that tonight. Hold up, wait. Well, it's not too big a deal if we go down to bracket, though. We actually need to. I think we're in bracket 4 right now. It'd actually be better if we go down to bracket 5. But, yeah, I actually just realized we need to fill that in like 6 hours. Oh, no. Because if I'm not mistaken, once it actually hits the event week, whoever comes in can't participate during that Guild War. You have to get them in beforehand. Because even though the event technically doesn't start until Tuesday, the to be able to participate in it, I believe you already have to be in the guild by Monday. Or, you know, like Sunday reset time. Or not Sunday reset time, but, you know, Sunday going into Monday's reset time. Even though it doesn't start until Tuesday. Unless they've changed that in recent years. I actually don't remember. But last I recall, you have to have them in before the weekly reset. Yeah, it just has to be before reset. Because once the week starts, even if it's before the event started, it still doesn't count. So hello, Stacy. Welcome, welcome. Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. I won't be streaming any Guild War. Well, I guess technically we'll be streaming the first day of Guild War. But yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. I didn't think about that. Oh gosh, that just reminds me. I got to do Guild War when I'm away. That's going to be annoying. I might throw super hard. Because I highly doubt I could play effectively on mobile. Yeah, I kind of forgot about that. Don't I actually do need to go play Guild War during the thing, don't I? We won't do that bad. We'll probably just go like 4-1 every day. But technically, whatever the first day of Guild War is, we will be streaming that. Because we will be doing one last stream on the 7.0 day. Which also means we get to test whatever post-pass feature for the Guild War as well. I'll only be able to show it for the one day. But I will still be able to show it. Also, hello, Chris, by the way. Welcome, welcome. Also, hello, Jamie. But, yeah, we'll still have the one day to go show it before we go. Assuming you can even upgrade them immediately. There's a chance we won't have whatever new currency or whatever. Actually, whatever system they have going on with that. Who knows? Maybe we'll use already existing currencies. Could you imagine? Who knows? Maybe it uses ingots and, what are other useless resources in the game? And trade stones. And, there's like 1 billion of them. Why can't I think of any? Or any of the other 1 billion of them. I think there's so many that literally just naming almost any resource would almost count in that category. But, you know, they're adding at least one new currency for it. If not 1 billion. I'm just curious how you'll earn that currency, though. Because I don't think they're adding a new game mode or anything. So it's one of the reasons I'm hoarding all my Vault keys until the patch. Because they have to put them somewhere if they're gonna, you know, require new resources for it. And there's not too many places they could put it if they're not adding any new content. Like, you know, it'd have to be on existing content. Alright, not a particularly good final fight here, but we'll wait it out. Give it a few extra seconds in case the timer was off. And that is match. Let's see, what do we got here? Anything good? Oh, at least we high rolled the glory, because everything else was complete trash. But, hey, we high rolled the glory at least. Now, let's go update our number. That's Palooza number 11. 4 to go. Let's see, where are we at? I thought that was my Volkey number for a second. I was like, wait, what? I was gonna say, we didn't get that many. 231. Oh, we did do pretty good, though. Though some of these were from the grind throughout the day, too. And some of them might even been from Angels and Merchants. No, it couldn't have been from Merchants because I don't buy any of them. But it could have been from Angels because I think I picked up 1 or 2 from Angels. I'm still counting them in that number, though. They're still technically during the Vault event. And what's this other number? 777, so this one's 31. So we got a nice average 2. And, of course, that is our 11th Palooza now. All right, 4 to go. Let's keep going. Alright, let's go run one more, and then we'll probably clear whatever dailies we haven't still done. Alright, let's go to Soulforge, go to Other, and let's do another one. The back-to-back. Spoiler thread talked about the Underspire. Ooh, Underspire. And currently you don't see the event or location. This sounds like a new area to the Underworld. I wonder if they're ever going to add a third zone at some point soon. Because you know it's going to happen at some point. We're going to get another area. We have Kristara for the main world. We have the Underworld. And obviously the joke is that they're going to do an overworld. Because there's an Underworld. But, you know, they might eventually do something for that. A whole nother zone. It's more so a matter of when than if. Like, eventually, both the zones are just going to be way too bloated to really add more stuff to them. Unless they do, like, a map extension to both. Which, even though they've reworked the map in the past, they didn't really extend it. I think they did, like, ever so barely. But the last time they did, like, a major map rework, it didn't really add that much more map. If really any at all. My head is slowly emerging into the green screen. Wait, is it that bad tonight? Oh, that is kind of funny. Yeah, it is. Yeah, my green screen is balanced for when I have here. Not for when I have no here. I guess I should try rebalancing it some. Problem is, sometimes if I rebalance it too low, it starts to get a little staticky because my green screen is not the greatest. But it does what it needs to do. Literally just using a not a blanket, what would you call it? A cover sheet. What's that undersheet called? There's a proper name for it. For the bedding sheet. I don't know, but it's basically just a bed sheet. I think the one I'm trying to think of has a special name, I can't remember. So hello, QFX. Welcome, welcome. Recently came back to the game, and the event has pumped up so much resource-wise. Oh, yeah. I would advise playing as much as you possibly can within the next 6 hours. This is the most loot you're ever going to get ever during these events. They happen about once every 6 weeks, and they are very broken. They've made them more and more powerful over time. Vault events have gotten buffed so many times. And one of the biggest ones was when they added the Paloozas, which is what we're doing right now. Which after you get a bunch of verse scrolls, you can do a 15-minute Palooza, and during that time, every single battle you do is 4 gnomes. And you get a lot of loot. This mode has actually been nerfed like 3 times, Paloozas. And even after those 3 nerfs, it's still like 10 times better than it was before the event even existed. So yeah, it's pretty crazy the kind of loot you can get from this. It's lasting for about 6 more hours. And it happens about 3 days every 6 weeks or so. So they're pretty short when they do happen, but you get a ton of loot during them, that is for sure. And they're a great time to catch up. Because if you just power farm a couple of these events, you're going to have more resources than you even know what to do with. You get a lot from them. And there's some pretty cheap teams that can kill them too, like Quick Kill Rowain, where you basically just run Hero, Rowain, Leprechaun, and Mirage Queen to get the half-mana start there. And you just one-shot them very quickly, and then pretty much any team that does similar. This is the quickest version, but you definitely don't need this to win pretty quickly. So this is the quickest possible win currently within the game. The problem is it requires 2 Ironhawks, though. We are getting an Adana Legends Reborn in 2 more weeks from now. Though not sure when our next Adana event is, which is when you'd be able to next get Ironhawk pretty easily. Well, that and Soulforge, if you get a bunch of diamonds. Oh, so hello, Anthony! Welcome, welcome. You farmed around 900 volts so far? Nice. Yeah, and I advise waiting to open them. The main reason you want to wait, well, there's actually 2 reasons. One is you might want to wait until next patch just to see if it does anything. But you also just generally want to wait when it's not a Vault event to open Vault keys, because their drop rate's actually the same during and not during a Vault event. So normally it's better just to grind more Vault keys rather than opening Vault keys during it. Because you get the same value from it during or not during, so Better just farm up during and then open them all after. And I'm hoarding all mine for next patch just in case there's some kind of weird new currency in it or something. I highly doubt it, but you never know. And worst comes to worst, we'll have a bunch of vault keys to open once we get back from our family trip. A little unfortunate that we're leaving on patch week, though. Because I planned that like a month ahead of time, so I didn't really know what would be happening around then. We're also going to miss Guild Wars, which is generally one of the funner weeks for messing around with teams. Though luckily, Guild Wars, from a loot perspective, is actually kind of bad. Unless you're in Bracket 1, you get so little reward from Guild Wars if you compare it to like any other event we have these days. There's a very small amount of loot. Because you don't get any orbs, you don't get any vault keys, you don't get any of those other like peripheral loot. You just get like a small handful of gems and like that one troop you probably already have a billion copies of by now. Which I'm surprised they haven't added another 6 to that rotation or something. Because they did that for the Guardians, where they added extras to them. But they never did it for Guild War. We still have the original 6 from when it released, gosh, ages ago, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago? How long has Guild War been around? It's been a while. It's been a long while. I'm still curious to see what the patch does next Tuesday. I'm actually pretty hyped for it. Because it'll give us something seemingly pretty nice to grind as well. Which is nice because I don't feel like we really have much of one to do currently. Other than just hoarding resources. Because yes, you can hunt for deeds, but that's very slow. Like, you feel like you're barely making any progress. Yes, you can hunt for tokens, but similarly, you need so many that it also feels very slow. Like, you're making progress on them, but it's very slow progress. That'll be interesting to see what this new system does for that. Because initially, it seems like we're going to get a lot of progress, potentially. Because assumably every troop in the entire game can have it applied to it. And there's almost 1,300 troops currently within the game. That is a lot of things to get resources for. I just hope it's not too much like how the elite system works. In that sense. Because that was a very, very long grind. Like a pretty much forever ongoing one. And I'm pretty sure shiny cards are actually going to be somewhat similar to that. I just hope that it has a fun mode if it does get like a new mode added to it or something similar. Because the problem with tokens for the longest time, though there are some few alternatives these days, but for the longest time you could only ever do it in Explorer. And it was literally the only place you ever got tokens. And then they expanded it a little bit, so, you know, they added world events where you can get tokens. They added those orbs last December, which was huge for that. You can now get forging orbs to make it easier to max out mythics and such, and eventually other rarities once you max out all the mythics. So, they end up adding stuff like that, so we'll have to see exactly how this new system is initially. I've been playing Gems since pre-launch. No, I actually didn't play the pre-launch. I actually played slightly after launch. I played the week of the launch, like the later part of the first week that it launched. Only people on mobile got to play it a little bit earlier. Because it was out in Australia like a month earlier. And it was out on Android, I think, 3 weeks earlier before it came out to Steam. Because Australia got it exclusive for like a week or two. It was almost like a pre-launch test, if anything. Then it was expanded to all of Android. And then like a couple weeks later it came to Steam. And normally they consider the official launch a Steam launch. Which happened in late November of 2014. So we're getting close to the 10-year mark. This is the 9-year anniversary of the game this November. It'll be 10 years next year. And we've been playing it the whole time. Actually, that's kind of insane. That means when the game is 10 years old, I would have been playing this game a third of my life. Well, if we compare that to other games, I've been playing other series for way longer. Like the Pokemon series has been like, what, 5, 6 of my life? And RuneScape's pretty high up there too, which we actually got back into recently. We haven't been streaming it much or making much content on it. We probably will at some point. A lot of video guides we can make on it. But, that game I've been playing since, what, 2003, I think? That would have been like 3/4 of my life by then. You got a new tarot card, the Tower? Nice. Oh, isn't that used to get Leona's Tower? Or am I thinking of a different thing? I missed your question. What was your question? Let's see. I read your other comment and then started rambling and then forgot to read your question. Why do we get random gold keys when matching gems on the board occasionally? Oh, the random gold keys, that has always been a mechanic. It used to actually be worth way more. Back in the day, there was only 2 key types in the game. I think it was called an iron key and a magic key. So iron keys were, if I can remember, it's basically 3 troop drops. And they functioned pretty much like how glory keys did, but I believe you got like at least a guarantee rare or something. Like there was one, it could be anything from common all the way to legend because mythic didn't exist at the time. And it had like a guarantee rare in it. Whereas a magic key was a higher chance of getting the higher rarity ones and had a guarantee at least ultra rare in it. And basically, long story short, is you basically get 3 drops, and the old iron keys were basically like glory keys, and the old magic keys were basically like gem keys in a sense. And you got 3 drops whenever you opened 1 key. The reason why gold keys seem so bad now from it is, for whatever reason, they just did like the lowest tier key when they end up replacing it. Because back in the day, you got the equivalent of what was almost like 3 glory keys for what is currently 1 gold key whenever that triggers. There's actually another leftover mechanic. Whenever you sometimes get gems from your defend team, back in the day before Treasure Hunt existed, which was prior to version 1.05, which is like ancient history, but there's actually a leftover mechanic that they've never changed that your defend team actually still has, and it's whenever you get a 7+ Cascade, you get 1 gem. Because that's the resource you used to get before treasure maps existed. Like, even in the main battle, like if you were to do a 7+ Cascade, you used to get 1 gem instead of a treasure map. But a feature was then replaced with treasure maps when Treasure Hunt was released in 1.05. But they never changed it for defense. So to this day, you still actually get a gem, or multiple gems. It's why you see you sometimes getting gems on your defend team. But all those gems are from 7+ Cascades from your defend team specifically. Yeah, it's a really ancient leftover mechanic. What's kind of funny these days is, well, the treasure map theoretically was better initially. Like, in the case of the key was always a downgrade. Like, 1 gold key is worse than what 1 iron key ever was back in the day. However, the treasure map initially was actually a buff, because 1 treasure map loot is way better than, you know, a gem. However, in the current state of the game with how many maps there are, 1 gem is substantially better loot than an entire treasure map. Just because there are too many treasure maps to ever realistically use them all. So a singular gem is actually worth more. Which is kind of funny, because when it first came out, you were actually really looking forward to those treasure maps. Because there's a lot less ways to get them. Like, Tyree's 20% chance of getting one was like one of your best ways in the entire game to get them. Because you couldn't mass buy them from the shop at the time. It was pretty much 7 times Cascades or Tyree were the only 2 options in the entire game. Whereas these days, there are plenty upon plenty of options. We have Cedric Sparkle Sack. Not Cedric Sparkle Sack. What's the other guy? Not Cedric. What's the other guy? The Christmas guy they added like a year or 2 ago that had a gigantic bug. Actually, I think it was last Christmas. But they added that guy who does like 2 treasure maps. They made Tyree loops easier and a few other things that give maps. And of course, you could just mass buy them in the shop now. For what, 30 glory each? As hello, Logic Slayer. Welcome, welcome. Also, that reminds me, we'll hand out a redeem code with 2 treasure maps in it after this. Though that's not the main loot from it. The main loot is the Sharky Pet for Shark Month. Technically Shark Week, but it's basically Shark Month with how many codes they gave us. But we'll be handing out the Sharky code, and it'll have all that loot in it. The gem key to 2 treasure maps, the good old Sharky. Gotta get those 2 juicy treasure maps. So they go into the pile of 30,000 something treasure maps. Which I need to go check how many we have after this. Some kind of absurd number of way too many. Oh, so hello, Logic Slayer. Welcome, welcome. Was it nice already say hello? I always forget. I lose track of it so quickly on stream sometimes. Who I haven't. I'm pretty sure I sometimes say hello to the same person like 3 or 4 times. Still no Sharky on Switch? Oh no. I wonder if they've ever brought in it to Switch. Has there even been a capability to even get it in the first place? Because I know their event system's kind of like all over the place. So I wouldn't be surprised if they've never even gotten the Sharky Pet. I'll check your question in a second. I need to check the timer to make sure we don't go over. Go, 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 go. We got 3 seconds. Go, 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 go. Quick, quicker. No, did we make it in time? I'm not sure if we made it in time. Okay, good. We made it in time. Also catch you later, Chad. Thanks for stopping by. What was your question? But is the gold key random, or is it for doing something specific? The gold key? Oh, it's just random. It's random whenever you take a 3 match, if I'm not mistaken. Specifically not 4s or 5s, last I recall. Specifically only 3s. But, yeah, it's a bit of a weird mechanic. But it was basically just to give you a few more keys over time back in the day. Back when those keys mattered a lot more. And the keys were actually better back then, too. Or at least the type of key that you got relative. Because to make it almost equivalent to what it was before, they basically have to give you 3 glory keys every time that happens. But they give you a singular gold key that does basically nothing. Anyways, let's go hand out a redeem code. We'll hand out 2 tonight, 1 right now, 1 in a little bit. And let's go clear out the dailies right now, might as well. So we don't forget to go clear them out. Let's go update all the numbers as well. But there you guys go. There's the Sharky code. Has 2 treasure maps, 1 gem key, 200 souls, 2,500 gold, and a Sharky pet in it. If you haven't already gotten it, and even if you have, well, to go get it maxed, or closer to maxed. Actually, have I ever maxed the Sharky pet? I don't remember. Because if we don't, we definitely will soon. Pets, pets, pets. Sharky, Sharky, Sharky. Oh, yeah, we have it maxed. Oh, do we have it maxed? We have 30 copies. Oh, gosh. We have a lot of sharks. And we still have a billion more to hand out. Though not all of those were from that, but a good chunk of them were. Though we already had it mythicked before we even started handing out a billion of them. We had that maxed a long while ago. Anyways, let's go clear our dailies real quick. We got Diamond Day today, so always worth buying this. Bit of 50 gems, particularly on Sunday. Though you could technically do it every day if you need diamonds. It was really good value on Sunday. Oh, are we going to get 2 perfect days in a row? Come on, top 3. No! Unfortunate. Alright, let's just run Zolgoth. Clear out these fights. Be good to go. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It happens, though. You paid me to max it with an orb? Oh, did we? Wait, did we max it with an orb? I guess we did. I know we named it after you. I don't recall ever maxing it, though. I guess we did at one point. We just maxed it like 2 months ago. I can't remember like 5 seconds ago. So yeah, that makes sense. But, interesting. Yeah, that would have been when Pet Orbs came out then. Well, maybe not exactly when Pet Orbs came out, but anyways. Well, at least now it's super maxed. Why does it say Terry on top? Because he also paid to have it named after him. We've had a couple of those in the past. People just donate to the channel and ask to be named after one of the pets. We probably have like 2 or 3 dozen of our pets named after people in stream. Or just after random things that people wanted it named after. The one in the picture creates more gems also? Interesting. Yeah, that's what I'm most curious about with some troops. Because I was mentioning that not every single troop is probably going to get a mana buff. It could be something else on their ability. So we basically just have to see what it is for every troop. And hopefully someone will data mine and have it up on like Terran's Road or something similar. Because if the game doesn't tell you what the upgrade is, and they all have a different upgrade, it's going to be hard to figure out which ones are worth upgrading. So hopefully either the game itself tells you, or people will have it data mined like everywhere on Terran's Road and other locations. To the point that you can just easily reference it like you would most other information in the game. Because otherwise that's going to be really annoying to figure out. Also, gosh, that fight was so close. I was surprisingly close to losing. Ah, there we go. And just in case there's a diamond drop down here. There's not. Just a 3rd trap room. Because it's basically a trap room. If you click up, you start getting less loot. And there's the code we just handed out. 2 treasure maps, 1 gem key, 200 souls, 2,500 gold, and a sharky. And we'll have another one in a little bit. Anyways, let's go do adventure board. I got a few good ones. We got 10 gems and some keys over here. Might as well go grab them. Okay, so let's go run it with I'll run the one-shot team. It depends if you can revert them. Oh, I wonder what's gonna happen with something like Bandit. Because Bandit's in a weird situation where some people have it gold elite leveled, but not fully traded. Because my Bandit right now, or Thief, whatever it's called, whatever that one purple troop is called, it is gold elite leveled, but only has 2 traits. And the only way you can currently do that in the current state of the game is the few times where they've had refunds since elite levels. Because the gold elite level, similar to Ascension, does not get refunded, but your traits do. So we're able to have it not stealthy, but still have gold elite. So I'm curious what's going to happen with that. Because I might not be able to shiny it without fully trading it. In which case, we might finally trait Bandit, we'll see. But, because it might not be shinyable without it. Wouldn't that be funny if one of the buffs it got, from being shinied is it no longer has stealthy? I highly doubt that will be a thing. But that would actually be a buff if they just remove the trait from it. I highly doubt shinies will replace traits though. Though that would be an interesting way to add better traits to troops. Is getting them fully max shinied, gave them a new final trait or a stronger final trait, or one of their traits just being better than what it was before. Though hopefully they actually will be better, because of course there could be situations where you know, it's worse. Wouldn't be the first time. Or they tried adding something to make it better and effectively just made it way worse than it already was. You still wouldn't trade it? Yeah, it's so much better not traded. Alright, there we go. Though we might need it eventually for Pride Land's 30 star. Because right now, I actually can't 39 trait this kingdom. Because Bandit is one of them. But, even if we did, we wouldn't have the other upgrade, so it wouldn't really matter. But one thing technically blocking us is also just not being traded on Bandit. I don't know, we might eventually do it, we'll see. But for now, we're keeping it like that. Who knows, maybe next patch they'll force all the old bandits to be max upgrade if they're gold deleted. Because at this point, it's basically a bug than a feature, but it's one they've never bothered fixing. Anyways, it was kind of a big oversight on their part, where they nerfed him and basically buffed him more than they ever could have. Which is something they've done many times before. Anyways, let me go switch back to Dust Devil team and let's continue to grind. Get the third Palooza going. Before we do, though, let me actually cycle through one more time. Because we're only like 3 shards away, so... Oh, that's not the team I want. Well, I'll use the one Ironhawk team for now. Well, let me go do a few battles just so we can get those shards out of the way so we don't have to cycle the Mythic as quickly. Otherwise, we might have to fight 2 of the Mythic. Because I want that shard number to be, like, nearly 0. Oh, merchant, anything good? We got... Oh, nice! Purple deeds. Oh, speaking of which, we can finally go for the purple magic upgrade. Someone needs to remind me on Tuesday that we need to decide which kingdom we're upgrading to purple. Because sometime later that stream, on our final stream before we go, we will be upgrading one of the kingdoms to have an additional magic. It's either going to be Kakarot or Darkstone. And we're going to be making that determination tomorrow. It really comes down to who gets a better buff from shiny cards. Will it be Zolgoth or will it be Thrall? And whatever the answer is probably the kingdom we're doing. Because if Thrall gets buffed more, then we're doing him. And if it's Zolgoth, then we're doing Kakarot. Which will be the big determination. Look at this, we're back to doing Explore for like a few seconds and we already got 2 verses. Unfortunately, it's 2 verses we do not need. Which doesn't do us too good, but better than nothing, I guess. I was just doing that to try to get rid of this chest. And there we go. Okay, now we go back to the real team. Oh, you know what I should have done on that final fight? I should have used my Ironhawk team because now I need to do this for one fight. Just to make sure we're back to the right team. Yeah, Bandit traded can sometimes be beneficial. The main reason why non-traded Bandit is generally considered better is due to its interaction with stealthy hero classes. So stealthy hero classes, like the tree that summons Bandit, also has stealthy. So what you can end up doing is having your hero have stealthy, but having the Bandit not have stealthy, which forces them to have to attack if they have a single target ability or something similar. They have to target the summoned Bandit rather than the hero. Technically, you could also do inverse, though very few of them run not stealthy for on hero. But you could technically do it the other way around, where you're summoning stealthy bandits, but your hero itself doesn't run stealthy. But normally it's stronger for your hero to be stealthied and your bandits to not be stealthied, so that the bandit summons just keep tanking for you. Alright, let's go run out of Palooza. This will basically be the halfway mark then. Because we want to go... Oh, I just realized, we didn't update the number from earlier. We're actually at 13 Paloozas. Well, technically 12, but this will be our 13th. I completely forgot to update it. Well, we'll have to double update for the next one. Because I handed out code and then forgot to update the numbers. Because after this one, we'll be at 13. And our goal at this point is pretty much to go 15. And then tally our loot from there, and I'll probably call it a wrap it there. I'll still be farming a little bit off stream. And that would get us to our goal. Our goal was somewhere around 300 to 500, and we're probably finishing the stream at about 350 to 400 or so. A little bit of grind off stream after. So pretty much exactly where we wanted to get to. Yeah, Darkstone and Kakarot are pretty close to 30 star. It really comes down to which ones are getting more events soon. And that's one thing we could probably see on Tuesday. The only problem with that is I'm not sure we'll be able to get updated immediately on Terran's World. But we'll probably see which one of them has more events coming up in the near future. As far as like how many more troops will be coming in, making them closer to 30 star kingdoms. Though both of them are going to be 30 star within like the next year or two or three, so. Probably within the next year. Because I'm actually surprised how close we're getting to 30 stars. Like, they've been getting several of them there. We already have 2. Like, by the end of this year, we're probably going to have 6, potentially. Around there. And by next year, we could almost have most of them there. Well, maybe not most of them, but, you know, most of the ones that already have, like, a ton of... Because things like Cinemirage is obviously nowhere near. Things like Drakzoom's nowhere near. The newer kingdoms they've been adding the last couple years are nowhere near. Whatever new kingdom they might add later this year or early next year. Also, if we do get a new kingdom this year, this will be the first year in like 5 or 6 years where we ever get 2 kingdoms within a year. Because back when the game first came out, they were doing like 2 to 4 per year, which are closer to 4 per year. And maybe more than that, almost like 4 or 5 or 6. Like it's almost like every 2-month period or so. Like it was actually part of the economy of the game whenever a new kingdom came out because it was the main thing that sunk a bunch of keys, particularly gold keys and such. But, yeah, we haven't had more than 1 kingdom in a year for at least 5 or 6 years now. Because that system eventually got replaced in 3.0 with the Underworld system. Just so they wouldn't completely overbloat the kingdom with kingdoms. Because if they kept adding kingdoms at the same rate they were way back when, at this current point in time, we'd have like 80 kingdoms in the game. If they kept adding kingdoms at the rate they initially were when the game first came out. Which is why they replaced it with the Underworld system. And technically, if you count the Underworld, we technically do almost have 80. Because we have, what, there's like 36 kingdoms, I believe, right now. And all of them have an Underworld, so 72. So to a degree, we almost do have 80 kingdoms, just half of them are factions. Rather than all being kingdoms specifically. Oh, do we actually already know when the next 30 star is? Wait, which one's coming on October 6th? Which kingdom is that? But we don't get tribute from them, true. Tribute is so broken these days. They mentioned way back when that they might consider, if it ever got like too out of hands, like nerfing tribute. But I think in the current state of the game, they are never going to touch tribute in any way that would possibly nerf it. Because it's basically become the lifeblood of the game. The entirety of the tribute system. Like, the entire game's economy basically runs on the tribute system now. It's the main meta progression system within the entire game, and honestly, a pretty good one. I'm actually a big fan of how Gems of War handles the overall progression. As it ties basically everything, even the most useless things in the entire game for the most part, into actual usefulness by having the full collective of how kingdoms get upgraded. And you're constantly getting more useful currencies from it. Even the worst troops in the entire game, aside from the Apocalypse troops and a few other rare exceptions, but almost every single troop in the game can help you towards getting more gems per hour, as well as a few other resources. So you're basically converting something that is really useless into something actually useful that you can spend on pretty much anything. As gems are obviously very flexible in what they can be used for. Hello, back. Welcome, welcome. Oh gosh, 3 years of being gone. Well, welcome back. That's one video I've been meaning to cover for ages and haven't done in a while. We've talked about it on stream before, but haven't done like a specific video for. But like a returning player guide. Because gosh, has there been a lot of changes in the last several years, that's for sure. Like, this game is barely even recognizable from when it first launched. Aside from some of the troop art, almost nothing is the same. There's definitely been a lot of features over the years. With next patch next Tuesday being a pretty revolutionary one as well. Honestly, the one this Tuesday could be as impactful as 2.0 was. 2.0 was the patch that added traits to the game. Like the entirety of trait system. Because before then, the only thing troops had were an ability. Nothing else. A mana cost and an ability. And traits was the main thing that started to make troops very unique. Because even troops with somewhat similar abilities would still have drastically different traits. And now with shiny cards, it looks like it'll tweak their abilities some now. As well as potentially their mana costs. But what's more interesting is potentially tweaking their ability. Because there's a lot of troops that if their ability was slightly stronger, they would actually be usable. So it'd be interesting to see how that pans out. Like, for example, let's take, like, white. That one red-blue troop. It does, like, a lifesteal attack and creates, like, 5 purple. Now, 5 purple was scaled way back when. Like, we're talking 1 point something. That was changed a long, long while ago, back when they actually used to update troops on a regular basis. And that 5 gem spawn is basically 0. And you know, if his shiny version creates, like, 9 instead of 5, that could bring him into usability to some degree. Probably not completely, but, you know, it would make a bit of a difference. There's a lot of cases like that where, you know, something that barely ever gets used, if ever at all, could gain some viability. The only problem is things that are already strong are going to get even stronger. Like, could you imagine Thrall with even 1 less mana cost? Especially if it goes down to 4 mana cost, because then you can always guarantee just force wipe for it. Actually, you already can right now. If you have 20% mana start, you're guaranteed to have at least 1 mana start, because it actually rounds up, not down. So you're guaranteed to start with 1 out of 5, even if it was to be... so if it was to be, have 5 mana instead, you would have 1 out of 5. And then, because he has a purple link, you would actually not need to set any banner to him anymore. You would simply be able to go and take a single purple from the board And Surge or no Surge, it would full mana him in that situation. What is an Ironhawk? Ironhawk is a very broken troop. It is the one at the bottom of our team right now. Slightly hard to click on it when we're going this quickly. However, its final trait deals 5 damage to all enemies every time you cast a spell. And there are troops in the game that have the Empower ability, which of course gives them their spell immediately. And it stacks, so if you have 2 of them, that's 10 damage to everything. If you have 3 of them, that's 15 damage to everything. And it kills everything very quickly. Because just the Ironhawks alone, we're doing 20 damage to all enemies. 10 per cast. And Dust Devil also has 5 damage to all enemies, so this is actually doing 25 damage within like 1 second. Which is very strong, and is currently the quickest possible way to win within the game. At least at this low of a difficulty anyways. Obviously at higher difficulties this team is horrible. But at this very low range, it is very broken. But yeah, we covered a Mythic tier list about a couple weeks ago, about a month ago. And I believe we placed Ironhawk as number 1. Because Gems of War is a really resource-heavy game. And there isn't anything that farms resources better than Ironhawk. While its overall viability within a team is closer to like B tier or C tier, its viability in farming loot is unmatched compared to anything in the game. Because this is at least like 40%, 50% quicker than the next quickest option that can win quick kill on this. Because the next quickest from what I'm aware of, and this is some kind of new meta that's for the middle range, is simply just like Leprechaun into Rowan. It's nice, cheap, easy to get, and wins within a similar amount of time, but you have to wait for the Leprechaun to explode the board. Because once you have your mana, you just click Rowan and it's the win. But the main thing that slows it down is having to wait for all the cascaded mana from Leprechaun. Because a lot of times you have to cast to get full mana to Rowan. Whereas with these 2 troops, they start with full mana, so you don't have to waste any time getting their mana. Which is very convenient for winning quickly. The Steam actually averages 6 wins per minute. It is slightly slower during a Palooza because you have to watch through the 4 animations of the gnomes every single time. Which I guess brings it close to like 5.5 per minute. But it's very quick. We even see right here the battle took... Oh wait, never mind. There's a... what's his name gnome? The only downside of this team. Ever since that gnome, it cannot one-shot it. But if we actually go check the timer, the actual like in-game timer for how long a match is, obviously it doesn't count all the in-between screens. But we can see it's coming down to like 7 or 8 seconds. If we go over here. And the one that does it in one single hit goes even quicker. We can see, oh, I forgot. I didn't click it quick enough. Oh gosh. Why did they put the timer in such a bad location? We had a whole conversation about this last night. But they put that timer in such an awkward place to try to get to it. But right there we can see it took 7 seconds. I still have no clue to why to this day that timer is not seen on the final menu after you've already completed out the battle to show you how long your battle took. If you ever want to click on it, you have to go all the way over here in a menu in the middle of nowhere. But of course that timer doesn't keep track of the load screen and the in-between menuing. Because it's probably taking about 12 seconds when we have to worry about those animations. But when you don't have the 4 gnome animations, it's about 10 seconds per cycle. Assuming you don't get a Dragonite gnome. Gosh, what's with all the Dragonite gnomes? We've been doing really lucky on not getting them this weekend. We're seeing a ton of them all of a sudden. They added them literally to counter this team. Because they basically needed a way to nerf Ironhawk team without nerfing Ironhawk team. So the solution to that was adding Dragonite gnome. They made it the tankiest gnome in the game. And it's tanky enough to survive 25 damage hit in every mode. Even when it's taken over a rear, it has 26 durability. So they made it literally possible to always survive a Ironhawk wipe. Which makes this team slightly slower, but still pretty quick even with that. Factoring that in. Something like Rowan build and other quick kill teams don't need to worry about that because they have more damage than they know what to do with. This team does not have enough to one-shot that one particular situation. The other situation that it can't one-shot, though it's very rare, is when the Soul Gnome replaces a Mythic. It has enough durability to survive the 25 damage poke. Because that's the second most durable gnome. The first one being Dragonite Gnome. final stretch for this third Palooza. And then we'll run another 2, and then we'll see where our final tally is for the weekend. All right, 1 minute left. So I forgot to update it for the previous one. We are at 13 Paloozas now. I forgot to add the tally of the previous one. Actually, another Dragonite Gnome. I might just stall on him. I really don't need it, though. Like, if we still need a Dragonite, I would stall him right now, but I'd rather have the extra Vault Key or 2 that we're going to get from going forward. Now, if we get a Dragonite Gnome like 2 battles from now, I guess we'll hold on it. Let's see, was it worth it? Did we get a Volkey? No, no Volkey. Come on, at least 1 Volkey to make it worth it. Skipping the Dragonite Gnome. Come on, Volkey. Hey, can we squeeze in 2 more battles, or is it only going to be 1? No Volkey. It'd be really pressing if we try going for 2. Yeah, we'll end it on this one here for this cycle. You wish Puzzle Quest 3 had weekend loot events? Oh yeah, do they not really have they don't really have an equivalence yet for Vault events, do they? That's kind of surprising because even Gems of War back in the early days of Gems of War, while we didn't have Vault events at the time, we did have double something weekends. Like we'd have double gold weekends or double soul weekends and stuff like that. But it was eventually replaced with Vault events. Which is actually a good thing because Vault events are way better overall anyways. That's a pretty pitiful final loop of stash right there. A little unfortunate. At that point, we could have just held the Dragonite Gnome. We would have gotten better loot. But oh well. Alright, let's go do our tally now. So this number should go up by a lot since this is actually 2 Paloozas and not 1. But Palooza number is now 13. Vault Key number is now, whatever that number is, 264. And our Epic Vault Key number is now, let's see, we started at 777. So we're at 38. Oh, wow. Whoa. 38. 38? Wow, we did it. When did we get so many Epic Vault Keys? I felt like we were barely getting any. Is that right? Let's see, 30? Yeah, 38. Wow. How did we do so good on Epic Vault Keys? I didn't even feel like we were getting any. But apparently we got all of them. Okay, that's not too bad. Of course, that is across 2 vaults, but still. Or not 2 vaults, 2 Paloozas, I mean. You know what I mean. But, there we go. Also, I think we're officially at the 300 mark. Because even if you just count our Vault Keys plus Epics, we're already at 302. And if you count Pity on top of that, we are at 339. But yeah, we'll keep going. We'll do 2 more of them. And that way we'll get a nice even 555. 5 on Friday, 5 yesterday, and 5 today. Alright, let's go run another one. Get our last little bit of grind in there. Well, not our last, but, you know, our last that will be streamed. Alright, let's go run it back again. Already on the right team, right everything. Might as well go right back into cycle. Oh, we already got the pattern down. One for Explorer 1 is Moon Mage team with Doomsayer. Interesting. Which team is that fully? I don't recall that one. I know one really funny one that was used a little bit is a Slayer Bleed team. Because there were some quick kill teams that were actually utilizing the bleed off of Slayer. The problem with that these days is things like Dragonite Gnome don't take enough damage to die to it. Because those were pretty quick and almost the same speed as Ironhawk. But they were really dependent on you having enough damage to kill initially with bleed. Because if you didn't get enough bleeds, they would take forever to die. Because the way that you could get away with it before was with Dust Devils, using the bleed mechanic off of Slayer. And that was like barely enough to do it. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, the one Ironhawk team actually still uses it that way. Or it's like Dust Devil, Slayer, Slayer hero class with Ironhawk. Because that's how the one Dust Devil version, or sorry, the one Ironhawk version works. Because you use Slayer's bleed to kill the rest. Even though you only have 20 damage, as long as some things die to that 20 damage, the rest will die to bleed. It's about as quick as Rowan builds, the problem, though. And it's forced to have to use Slayer class, whereas Rowan build can use any class you wish. Though it's slightly quicker with Green Hero class. Or, you know, Green Storm Hero class, I mean. Did you see the upcoming boss troops in Charon's World? I have not. We're probably going over that quite extensively on, I want to say Tuesday? Maybe we'll look at some tomorrow night. Because I kind of want to wait till Tuesday, because if Terran's World actually updates immediately, or somewhat near immediately, we should have a lot more info on Terran's World, potentially. Not sure how much of it's going to be updated, like, right away, though. Because it could take a couple days, and I will not be here a couple days after that. We're gonna miss this Vault event when it's over. I always feel so weird going back to normal loot after a Vault event. Because the loot's just so insane. It's one of the main reasons I don't do, like, super big grinds when it's not a Vault event. It just seems so much less worth it. And I'm not always, like, super free every single time we have a Vault event. Like, 1 hour of Vault event is like 10 hours when it's not Vault event. Not exactly, like, equivalence, but pretty close. Just with how much loot you end up getting. Because obviously you're getting other things at a quicker rate, like EXP and stuff like that. You get way more if you do, like, 10 hours when it's not a Vault event. But if you're taking, like, overall gem value, you are pretty much getting, like, a 5-to-1 or 10-to-1 ratio. Like, how many hours of a Vault event count as, like, hours out of a Vault event. And overall gem value. I used to do a Vault event every 4 weeks, or no, it used to be once every 6 weeks. Nowadays, it's pretty random, and sometimes we don't even get one every 6 weeks. But it's supposed to. It has always been once every 6 weeks or so. But it's always never had a schedule. It's really weird because a lot of events in Gems of War have, like, a schedule that they normally go. Like, hey, every X number of weeks this thing happens. But Vault events have always been one of those weird ones where, while on average it has had an event about once every 6 weeks, it is very sporadic when it has had events. We've had 3 Vault events within a single month. We've had, like, 2-3 months without a Vault event. Like, it is so very sporadic how it is sometimes. Like, earlier this year, we had, like, almost, like, what, 2.5 month period with no Vault event? Yeah, like, 2 Christmases ago. Not last Christmas, but the Christmas before that. We had 3 Vault events within, like, a month period. So, it's pretty sporadic. But on average, it's about once every 6 weeks. And it's pretty much been around there. It's just, it has had no consistency unlike other events. You keep dozing off during your paloozas? Oh, I could never do that. Maybe during verse farming. Because it's very easy to get distracted while verse farming, just casually. But I am, like, hyper-focused when I'm doing a Vault event. Or a palooza, I mean, specifically. It's actually quite tiring in the sense that we're, like, so overly focused. It just gets, like, mentally draining after a while. That's why sometimes even if we don't need verses, I'll just, like, skip to go do a couple verses. Just so we don't have to be try-harding max speed the entire time for 15 minutes straight over and over again. Is I feel like I'm losing out on a lot more loot when I have a Palooza running and I'm wasting time compared to if I'm verse farming. Whereas theoretically, if you just kept verse farming and kept getting verses, then, you know, those translate into Paloozas. But actually, farming Paloozas I see is a lot more casual. Whereas using the Palooza itself feels like I'm on a timer because, well, there is a timer literally ticking right there. Both in-game and on-screen. Because I find farming for Paloozas a lot more relaxing than using them. Though using them is a lot more fun. Because that's when you actually cash out on most of the loot. Well, technically when you open the vault keys is when you cash out on most of the loot. But this is when you're obtaining most of the loot that you eventually cash out on later. Moon Mage, Hero, King Avalon, and Leprechaun? Wouldn't that be the same speed? I forget what Moon Mage does. Because one nice benefit of a Rowain build is you don't actually have to always click Leprechaun. If you 4 times green, if you 4 or 5 times green or blue, Rowain gets full mana without needing to Leprechaun. Which if you were able to do that every single battle, it would win about 5 to 5.5 battles per minute. The problem is that doesn't consistently happen all the time. But it happens enough that like 1 in 3, 1 in 4 battles will get that extra speed. Though it requires paying attention to the board a lot more. Which is one nice benefit of Ironhawk team. Like, we don't care what the board is. It could be literally anything. It makes no difference. Whereas Rowain build and several other teams similar to it, you actually have to pay really close attention to the board because they can actually swipe mana from the board quicker than Leprechaun can get it mana. So sometimes you can full mana by swiping something for a free turn off the board way quicker than Leprechaun casting. But you don't have to worry about it with this team because it already starts with full mana. So you just immediately win. Oh, that's why. You only need the 4. Oh, interesting. So you can even take it off of a 3-peer then. Oh, okay, so it's basically... okay, that makes sense. So it's basically Rowain, but you can also do it off a 3. The only problem with doing it off of a 3, though, is... you do lose your turn when you take a 3. Because, yeah, Rowain can't do it off a 3 unless it surges. Like, there's no guarantee 3. Actually, no. Actually, couldn't you still do it off a 3? Because you'd have a +2. No, that'd be a 5, so yeah, it would be 1 mana short. But yeah, Rowain can't do a 3-pair. So the only problem with that is you do lose your turn. But it does mean every board you have full mana. To a degree, you would almost not even need Leprechaun then. Unless there's just, like, no way to take mana on the board. Also, gosh, my finger's starting to get tired of clicking. I feel like I'm just, like, mash clicking the button. That's pretty much what we are doing. Fingers getting fatigued from doing this. Because we've pretty much been doing it all weekend, too. It's starting to cramp up. Gonna get, like, carpal tunnel syndrome. How does that even happen? Because I can't think of anyone that has ever happened to. Though I always hear it, like, as a joke from clicking too much with mouse. Though I do feel like my hand's cramping some, though. So a week in the Vault event will do that. Because you can't actually see how many clicks I'm doing, but I'm like almost like spam clicking some of these times. Like, since I said that, I've probably clicked like 50 times. Like, that's one weird thing with Gems of War. You can't actually see like every single time we click. You somehow can under like those green buttons and such. But a lot of them you can't actually see how many times we're clicking. Because it only inputs one input. Even if you're clicking multiple times. I think I have that habit from real-time strategy games like Warcraft 3. Because my actions per minute in that game were like 200 to 300 or something. Like, I know it was something ridiculously high. But like more than half those inputs were just like spam clicking mouse. And I feel like that's the case for almost like every game I play now. I have a high APM not because I'm actually doing a lot of actions necessarily per minute, but because the mouse is just like spam clicking all over the place. Though for Gems of War, you do have to click a lot very precisely. The extra clicks is just to make sure it actually clicks. I guess sometimes it doesn't like clicking when you only click it once. Yesterday you had 13 Paloozas, today you have a lot, and now... Oh, an Epic Volkey. And now you still have 16? Nice! Oh wow, you farmed a lot then. I think this entire weekend, I only farmed about a dozen verse 3s, or, you know, the one we needed. Which, you know, that's not bad, but, not a particularly high amount. Definitely farmed way more on many weekends. Oh, no, I'm happy with our end result. We're gonna leave with like 400 something keys. This Palooza's almost over. And I will run one last one. And I will still farm it a little bit more after the stream, but we'll do one more as far as on-stream contents. But I will still be farming all the way until we do the video. Because I do want to try getting the video out pretty early this week. And there's a lot to cover, that's for sure. Though I won't be mentioning too much about 7.0 just because I want to wait until Tuesday night for us to just like fully go over it. And then like a short video Wednesday morning to kind of recap on everything. Because I kind of want to see it like firsthand before we full deep dive into it. Oh yeah, we never did hand out a second code. We'll go hand it out after this Palooza right now. Should be able to squeeze in 2 more battles here. This one and whatever the next one is. Ooh, double glory and a soul. That's kind of worth keeping, but I'm going to risk it and go for the next one. Hey, let's hope this one was better. Was it worth it? We had 2 glory and a soul. Now we have 3 soul and a normal. That's not bad. No glories, though, unfortunately, but I'll take it. I wouldn't say this is an improvement, but it's not a bad battle to get for a final. Especially if this guy gives a bulk gem key or event key. Like if he drops his 3 or 4 drop there. Oh, no, he gave us a single. We actually would have gotten a single even if we didn't delay it there. And 6,000 souls, pretty mid-range. Alright, nothing too special there, but a little chunk of loot. Okay, let's go hand out the final code then. And then go also run the final Palooza. And before we forget, also go update our number. But here you guys go. Here's the final code for the night. So we'll have plenty more tomorrow night. And plenty more on the final day we're streaming on Tuesday this week. When 7.0 hits. Because we'll be covering it the second it comes out. It should be coming out at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday. Which, guess what? That's the time we stream every day, so work out perfectly. That's why our stream time is even around the time that it is, as that is normally update time as well. That's why we even started the whole 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time stream, which is we happen to do it every single day. But it originally started because that's when patches normally come out. But anyways, let's go run, well, before we do, let's go update our number. And let's go run one last Palooza. We'll still farm a little bit more off stream, but this will be the last one we run for now. Let's go get our numbers in. It's a 280. Oh, wow, we did really good on keys. 825? Nice. And how many of epics? Only 1. Or is it 1? Hold up. Wait, no. Oh, no, we got 2. Because 40. Yeah, that'd be 40. See, we actually got 2. Wait, wow, that was 40 normal keys? That was 25 vault keys and 2 epic vault keys. That's pretty good. Not bad at all. Average number of epic vault keys, but really good on the normal number. All right, let's go run one. Also, it feels so weird seeing our Volky stack so much smaller than our Epic Volky stack. I'm so used to having thousands of these, but of course, when that orb system came out last December, we ended up consuming a lot of our Volkies, and in doing so, yeah, we have quite a bit smaller number now. Quite a bit smaller. Okay, I'm pretty sure nothing's here but pity, though we will grab the pity after this next Palooza. I'm just keeping it here so we have a really easy way of knowing. Because instead of looking at this number and trying to figure out, hey, how many do we have? I can simply just look at this number and be like, 39. There we go, good to go. So very easy, straightforward to figure out and add at the end. Because currently that Volky number, of course, does not include the pity number. But it will in a moment. Alright, let's go run it. The final Palooza. At least for this weekend. Because even when I do it off stream, I'm probably not running any Paloozas. I'm just going to do a little bit of verse farming. So we can repair that stack a little. This is the final Palooza of our Vault event then. Anything else we're getting is just going to be a small amount from verse farming. You're flexing over here? Oh wait, what were you mentioning? You used 7 Paloozas and farmed 27... Oh, nice Epic Volky. 27 gaps to make 112 gaps right now? Wow. That's quite a bit. That is quite the haul. Are you leaving Wednesday morning? I'm leaving, Wednesday midday. Like, I might still have enough time to get a video out in the morning, which is what I'm banking on. I should have enough time. Still a few other things I need to do before I actually leave, but, should be able to squeeze it in there. At least, like, a brief summary. It's not gonna be, like, a super long video. But kind of just like a 10-20 minute recap, hopefully, of the patch. Just so there's something smaller than having to watch like a 2-3 hour stream that we're probably doing Tuesday night. The videos mostly just be a much smaller recap that is not a mile long. Because Tuesday's stream is going to be longer than we streamed like a single day of Vault event this weekend. Like it's easily going to be 2 hours plus if we can actually engage with the shiny system immediately. Or at least in theory. Because if there's something we can immediately do, we are doing that thing, like, so much on Tuesday night. But if we can't actually engage with it immediately, then I guess it will be a little bit shorter. I don't know, we'll have to see. Really depends everything that it entails. And how much we can do, like, literally immediately. Yeah, I read the number backwards, yeah. Whoops. That does tend to happen sometimes. Actually, I had a real... even though I was really good at math in school, I had a really big issue where my eyes would, like, mix the numbers sometimes. Which made some math problems really annoying. Because you would look at a number, and then several seconds later, the number would completely become a different number. Sometimes it doesn't even, like, reorder the number. It, like, literally changes the number. Like, I'll be looking at the number 17, and it'll just turn into a 23. And then I'll look at it again, and it's like, oh, it's 17, never mind. It's really weird. I'm not sure why. But I had that issue a little bit during, school. I don't feel like it's happened as much in my adult life. But, I do definitely still have, like, dyslexia for, like, sequence order. Getting it wrong sometimes, a lot of times. But I used to have it to such a degree where it would just, like, completely change out the number. It just sees numbers and just sees them as symbols. It just replaces them with any other similar symbol. Or any number from 1 to 9 could be replaced with a different number from 1 to 9. Despite that, I was still, like, the best person at math in almost every class I've ever been in. Which is kind of weird. Because I was actually really decent at math, but I did have that issue with it. So I'd have to, like, triple check everything I would ever do, just to make sure the numbers didn't change. Luckily, when I'm thinking in my head, the numbers don't change, but when I'm physically looking at a physical number, it can end up changing. Which is why with quick maths, it's not as big of an issue, because that number doesn't ever change. But if I'm physically looking at a number, it sometimes can. But that was mostly when I was younger. I don't think I've had that much of an issue with it these days, for the most part. It's mostly like an elementary and middle school issue. Well, I had it a little bit in high school, though I can't recall it ever happening a single time in college. Oh, in all fairness, I barely even did any math in college. I took very few math classes. The ones I did were towards the easier side. Honestly, some of the math I did in college was easier than the math I did in high school. Like the weird arbitrary algebra and everything else that you had in calculus and stuff that you had to do in high school was actually harder than the math I was taking in college. Like legitimately harder. Honestly, a lot of my teachers were actually harder in high school too. But in all fairness, the last 2 years I did go to a special academy thingy. It was like a public free one, but it could have been the other thing too. Because I went to a public college, but to an actual like decent academy for high school. Though I do have to say, one of my math teachers I had was actually a pretty good teacher in college. He was like probably one of the most relatable people I've ever seen in their like 60s. Like relative to how old he was probably the youngest teacher I've ever had. Relative to age. Like he acted like a 20-something at like 60. It's kind of insane. Let's see. Take that one over. I also felt more like a philosophy class than a math class. Though it was some kind of like applied mathematics course. I don't remember the exact title of the class. Because I mostly just needed it for the credits when I was doing the associate's degree thing. Not sure if I'll ever go back to college. I always joke if I ever do, it'll probably be for some kind of psychology-related field. I would love to go into some kind of philosophy-related field, but, you know, there's really, like, no money to be made there. Unless you're in, like, the top of the field, there's, like, nothing you could do there. Whereas psychology, there's a lot more practical uses for it. Did we wear uniforms for the academy? No, it wasn't that kind of academy. I'm not sure how to describe the academy. It's basically, I don't know, it was basically like normal high school, but better. It was where all the people went who had like really good grades, who were from all the high schools that were complete trash. Because honestly, every high school in this area is pretty much complete trash. So the academy was basically a way to get away from everyone like that. And it was kind of nice. I don't know, it's hard to describe that place. Because it's not an academy in like a private school kind of way. Because it was completely free, you just needed like decent grades and stuff to get in. But it was way better than the base high school. Like it was like night and day, that school, compared to the, if I was to stay at my normal high school. I think I would have gone insane if I had to stay at my normal high school for 6 years. I'm not sure how I even survived the first 2 years. I'm not sure if every high school is that bad, or if mine was just one of the weird outliers. But, I don't know, it was like one of the worst experiences of my life. A lot of weird, sketchy stuff happens. Or is that the academy? You didn't have to deal with anything like that. Fortune cookie message creator. Honestly, some of those things seem like they're just generated by AI. And I wouldn't even be surprised these days with how AI is getting that they legitimately are. Like, that'd be a funny way to do it. Though I'm pretty sure most wouldn't implement it that way because they could get sued if it does anything too weird. But imagine just having a, like an equivalent of a fortune cookie. Maybe not exactly a fortune cookie, but something similar. But you literally have a 100% chance of making it unique by having just an AI program run it. It just makes sure it always does something unique every single time. Though AI does eventually tend to repeat itself after a while. Depending on how it's learned or taught, I mean. That you could literally just generate infinite number of possibilities then. Or at least very big number. Way more than you would normally have. Like, if you were normally making, like, 100 different variants, you could probably up it to, like, at least 10,000 with AI. Nice, Supernova. You've still been playing Cookie Clicker. That's funny. Yeah, I haven't been playing any of those idle games lately. Well, other than RuneScape. Which actually we've been playing in the background this entire stream, so... It was quite the idle game. Quite a few things I do eventually want to cover for that game. But I meant to, like, years back, but never bothered doing, and now it's like, now that I got back into it, it's like, I might as well again. Like, some of our most viewed videos on the channel, I think, were RuneScape related, mostly because the player base for that game is so absurdly large. And there's a lot of guides people just don't cover these days. Mostly because I feel like anyone who's been playing the game straight the entire time is probably, like, burned out like crazy by now. This is one of those kind of games where you do get burned out eventually. I've, like, played and quit that game, like, 4 or 5 times now, I think. But I am currently in the return state. They're actually doing a pretty big patch the day I get back. Because I believe we're getting back that Wednesday, and they're actually releasing probably the biggest update of the year that day. Unfortunately, we won't really be engaging with it, because it's really dangerous content that our One Life account probably won't be touching immediately. But, still be interesting to see how it pans out. If nothing else, maybe the weekend after we'll go do a stream for one of the other harder pieces of content that they added a couple years ago that we never got around to. It's pretty much everything they've done in the last 5 years I've never touched. And they've, similar to Gems of War, have done a lot of things in the last 5 years. As you'd expect from pretty much a live service game. Are we streaming till reset? No, as soon as this Palooza's done, we're probably calling it for tonight. I still will be grinding a little bit off stream, but in like 3 minutes, we're pretty much ending the stream. We'll get our final tally. We'll go from there. I just realized I didn't update the Palooza number when I updated the thing earlier. I updated 2 Volky numbers, but I forgot to update Palooza to 14. Because this is our 15th Palooza right now. The final Palooza. And I'm Prime for the code. Enjoy. And we'll have plenty more tomorrow night and Tuesday. Particularly Tuesday. We might head like 4 or 5 on Tuesday, we'll see. Because it'll be our last stream for like an entire week, so gotta make up for lost time. Plus this big 7.0 drop patch weekday. Weekday. Day, week, weekday, you know what I mean. I was saying weekday as in a day of the week, and not as a weekday. But then didn't realize I actually did like almost a double entendre of it meaning both things. Where it means both weekday and a week of the day. These weekday generally refers to Monday to Tuesday. Whereas also just referring to it as a day of the week. People who like math have good handwriting. I write very unique cursive. Because I pretty much only write cursive. I very rarely ever write print. Unless a document forces you to write print, I never write print. I only write cursive. And my cursive style is something that is very absurdly unique. Like, it's readable, but it doesn't look like normal people cursive. I'm not sure how to describe it. I wouldn't necessarily say it looks neat, though I guess it could kind of look neat. It's like cursive, but I do it a lot bubblier, if that makes sense. Like, I exaggerate letters a lot more. So it's really easy to read every letter, but it looks a lot different from, like, standard super formal cursive. because I use it casually for like everything. Like basically I learned cursive when I was young, and it still looks like a third grader's writing it. But it's like a very slow and deliberate typeface. It's decently easy to read, but looks a bit different than if you're used to like really formal cursive. But it's still readable as cursive. If anything, even more so. Like, it's not like Dr. Chicken Scratch level of cursive. Also, apparently, this is going to be our delayed Dragonite. I wasn't even trying to, but this guy's taking so long to kill, I might as well just wait and just get them for full value. Which I think is the first Dragonite all weekend. No, second one that we've gotten for full value. And I'm waiting just in case we get a skull here, even though we don't have lethal yet. Because we could. That's why I waited. I knew it. Because if I would have taken that beforehand, he would have died before the timer, and that would have been awful. We got 40 Dragonite there. Everything else not so good, but there we go. Because otherwise that would have been like a 7 Dragonite drop or something. Okay, let's go get our final tally. We got 40 pity keys, so we get to add that at the end. There's 15 Paloozas because I forgot to up the number from the previous one. And luckily these numbers should be pretty easy to determine. All we have to do is take our Vault key number, which is 309, which means we got exactly 20. Great to see. Alright, 309. That's not 309. 309. Epic Vault key is at 41, so we only got one, but it's fine. And a pretty average final one then. And then let's go add our final 40. If I could click there. Alright, and there is our final tally. And let me go get rid of the timer just so it's not blocking. Okay, so our final tally is the following. We got 149 Volkies, 40 from Pity, combined with the 41 from that, which means we have ended up getting 390 total Volt-related keys, where 349 is from Volkies, 40 from Pity, and 41 of them were Epic Volkies. Hey, cool. There we go, 390 on the dot. Not too bad. So pretty much right in the range we wanted. I wanted somewhere around 300 to 500, and we pretty much hit dead center on that, so not too bad. Plus, I'll still be grinding a little bit off stream, so honestly, by the time I finish off stream, we will be exactly at 400, the middle mark of what we were aiming for, so we hit it pretty much on the mark then. And there's our pity keys joining the rest of our keys in our stack now for that nice 349. Alright, there we go. Anyways, guys, but yeah, I'll be still grinding a little bit off stream, but it will be off stream at this point. We will be back tomorrow night, same time as always, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be our second to last stream for about a week. Our very last one will be on 7.0 day, big old patch. One of the bigger ones we've had in a while, especially because we had a lot of patches between 6.0 and 7.0. They went all the way to 6.9.5, which is like the longest they ever went without going one. So we ended up getting a lot of, where's the patch number? There it is. So we ended up getting a lot within that time, so yeah, this is going to be a pretty interesting patch then. Well, we'll have to wait and see. We'll be able to go over that Tuesday night. Tomorrow night, we'll mostly just be doing all the related events and everything. Finishing up World event, finishing up whatever weekly. So we will not be able to touch Vault event yet, unfortunately. I mean, not Vault event, I mean Guild War event. We won't be able to touch that, unfortunately, but we'll go from there, have a bunch of fun, and then Tuesday night be the big patch night. And then we'll have that to go over. And hopefully on Wednesday morning, I'll be able to squeeze in one little recap video going over things. And then we'll be back like the following Wednesday or so to cover everything we missed within that week. As far as whatever was learned about the event and everything else, or, you know, whatever other things happened with 7.0. Anyways, guys, I hope you all have a wonderful last of your Vault grind. If you're going to be going the last few hours, have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for watching.